too much confidence or positive self-image? All right, y'all, so here's that stereotypical confidence video that I know a lot of like YouTube influencers or people will make. All of it seems kind of redundant after a while, but it's important. It's important because we don't talk about it as much as a community, as just a species. It's just mental health is not a topic that people want to cover for whatever reason. It's just uncomfortable. And sorry about that. We had some sirens in the background, but that's a great example right there. Things like that happen when these things aren't talked about. And that's why I wanted to make a short video on this stuff. I had a situation recently, actually not so much recently, but this happened about half a year ago. And it's something that's still on my mind to this day. As someone that's like really, you know, I feel like I have big goals and I have a lot that I want to do in life. This comment specifically really kind of dragged me down for a little bit. It was actually a close friend of mine that I grew up with. I'm not going to kind of talk about details or name any names or anything like that, but we were getting a drink. We were just kind of talking, you know, we had an argument. It was a little bit of a disagreement, for lack of better words, but the one thing that he did say kind of through that, I realized that without context, it's not like as impactful, but I promise, like for me, it was pretty impactful. And that's the whole idea of just, he said, you think too much of yourself. So imagine someone just saying that to you, right? Like, and there's a lot of things that can happen here, right? So this wasn't that long ago. Again, it was just like, it was a few months back. It was last year. And this was from someone that I essentially grew up with, that we don't talk to each other as much anymore. And that's a whole separate topic. I'm going to make a whole video about just like friendships and how they change and all this stuff, especially with growth and all that stuff. But I know that he's struggling with a lot, and so am I. Like, everybody's struggling with their own demons, right? But in the moment, when he said that, you know, I didn't think too much of it in the moment, but that line just really stayed in my head for a while, because we all know negative self-talk often stays in your head way longer than the positive, which sucks, but unfortunately that's how we're wired. And that got me thinking, do I think too much of myself, right? Is that true? The more I think about it, the more I understand, like, the more I try to like convince myself, like, yes, I do, but at the end of the day, I know I'm not an asshole, right? Like, I know that because I have other really good friends and other people that have attested to my character, and who know me, right, day to day, rather than someone that I don't talk to as much, making a snap judgment. They know that I hope I'm still a very kind, caring person who just wants to do a lot and has respect for everyone that's essentially is kind enough to give their time to me, and you know, I share my time with them. So I do also struggle with a ton of confidence issues. Like, that's something I don't really talk about, just like everybody. So though I make content and I'm making these videos and things like that, and I make it seem easy, and like, you know, everybody has told me, yes, like, you know, you seem super confident, you seem like you'd never doubt yourself, stuff like that. Believe me, I do it every day, particularly right when I wake up. It happens like all the time. And then just to hear a comment like that, again, you just think too much of yourself from someone that I knew for that long. And you know, it just hurt for a little bit, because it's like, well, I don't, you know, like I project that I do, and I have all these lofty ambitions and goals, and right, and have to create a certain expectation for myself, right, and then have the confidence to match. At the same time, I have plenty of doubt and plenty of like internal demons that I'm wrestling with. And then on top of that, one thing a lot of people don't know, and I just readily don't talk about, is I grew up in a dysfunctional family. So my confidence was at an all-time low for like literally the longest time. And then I went to college, and then like post-college and all this, you know, 6 years I've been able to like really build that back up from something that was virtually at nothing, you know, when I was home, when I was in high school, stuff like that, and really just build my own sense of character and purpose through that. So I feel like I've worked pretty hard to kind of get where I'm at, and I feel like 5 years from now I'm going to say the same thing. Like, it's gonna continue getting better and better, because I've worked at it and knew what it was like to essentially not have anything, right, and like not have that just like really high self-esteem. So that's pretty much my story in a nutshell, and I wanted to explain all of this just for a little bit of context as to why I really wanted to make this video for others that are also maybe facing similar struggles, right? Who struggle with maybe like they're confident, they have all these lofty ambitions, but like people around them are criticizing them quite a bit. And that's also a whole separate topic I can make a video on is why people do criticize you, right? But as long as you're ethical and you're a good moral person, right, and you have all these goals, you have these dreams, these ambitions that are maybe just a little tad bit different from the norm, you have to recognize that a lot of these comments are unwarranted and don't really deserve a lot of your attention, right? Like, because they're just trying to bring you down while you have all these things that are in the pipeline cooking, and you're creating value for both yourself and others beyond anything they can realize or imagine, right? Like, I told the story of how it took, years and years to really build my stuff up, and I'm continually working on it, but I'm very proud of kind of where I've come, for example. And to answer that original question, you think too much of yourself, I 100% do, right? Because I know exactly where I used to be and where I am now and where I'll probably be in the future. And it's just seeing that growth is something that I have every right to be proud of, and so should everybody else that might be in a similar boat. That's the biggest reason I wanted to tell this story and make this. I know a lot of other people kind of struggle with these things, right? Especially when you don't necessarily have had maybe the best influences around you and they're bringing you down, they're weighing you down. And again, that's a whole separate topic. But really just take the time to evaluate the character of friends who would tell you that. So like I, for example, have definitely had a few bad apples in my squad, that person included, people that I grew up with. And again, some of them are still really great people, and like we hang out all the time, and like there's a ton of just like support there. But then there's others that have, whether they've been, they used to be like that, or they just recently became a little bit bitter, right, and just kind of gave up on a lot of things. They're projecting. Like, just remember, there's a lot of projecting there. Understand that these people, particularly that person, just because I know them, I know that they were just struggling, right? They're just struggling with their own demons, and then they're projecting that onto me. It doesn't hurt any less, but you got to understand that like it didn't maybe necessarily come out as like malice, right? It could just be projecting. It's just how they view the world at that point in time, and that could definitely change at a later point in time. Being better, everybody falls into that trap. It's just about how you get out, and then again, projecting positivity onto others, even if you yourself are in a bad place. Also recognize when you might also be doing this to other people. So we also, we should have, like, I think the idea is like 3 types of friends. So you have the people that are doing less than you, right, for lack of better words. You have the people that are doing the same amount as you, and then you have people that essentially are your mentors, or people doing way more than you and that you constantly go to for advice and stuff like that, right? So you should have those 3 different groups, very important. So yeah, you have those 3 different types of groups, right? And then just recognize when you do this to other people, right? When especially to those that you're friends with that are doing way more than you, like, recognize that that's fine. Like, people are allowed to do what they want, right? If they have goals and loftier ambitions that they're just more passionate about and interested in, like, understand that that's totally fine, and there's no reason to criticize them. That leads into the next point, which is you will never be criticized by those doing more than you. And like, look at them and see if they talk that way to you. They probably don't, because they're too busy. Like, they're too busy, and then they have goals that are just taking up and eating up all their time. They don't have time to criticize other people or even care what they're doing, right? Like, that's they're doing their own thing, and as should you. And that's the thing with this whole confidence thing, is like, we've all been guilty of this. Like, everybody can sometimes be an asshole to other people. This just happens, right? And like, we've all had things that we're probably ashamed of that we've done or treated people like in the past, right? And I'm constantly working at it. Other people are constantly working at it. So understand, other people can do it to you. You can do it to other people. Just be aware of it. And that leads to my last thing. Recognize and be self-aware when you are being just an asshole. Don't confuse it with high confidence or like high self-image as an excuse. Always evaluate. There's a reason I constantly have self-doubt. Everybody has constant self-doubt. You hear some of the biggest like entrepreneurs in the world have like really high self-doubt. And that's because it's very important when you're ethical and a good moral person to constantly come back and question that, and really just question if what you're doing, how you're acting, how you're presenting yourself is good for other people, is propping them up, is positive, right, and is ethical. You always want to question that, and you want to be aware of that, right? So yes, definitely ignore those comments that are unwarranted, but understand when they are warranted. There's a clear difference. And I can't tell you how to distinguish that. No one can tell you how to distinguish that. You just have to understand, like, you have to be self-aware. Like I said, in my own case, I know how hard I've worked to essentially boost my confidence up and really just create some of these loftier goals and ambitions, and then, you know, build that self-esteem high enough to reach them, right? And, you know, it'll continue getting higher, and that's going to stop for nobody. But also understand that it's not the same thing as being an asshole, and that if you go down that route, that's all on you. You have every right to lose all the people in your life because you're not treating them with the respect that they deserve. So that's the video. That's my little spiel on just confidence, how important it is to have it, to grow it, and don't worry about what people say, man. Don't worry about it. Just keep going, keep following your dreams, keep following your paths, right? But also have self-awareness. Very important. Anyways, y'all, that's the video. That's the short video. Leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if some of these shorter videos or ones that you're more interested in me making. I'm trying something new. I'd love to make more of them. They're easier to make. They're faster to make, right? Let's smash that like button. Let's get this video trending higher than the amount you're going to allow yourself to let your confidence skyrocket after watching this video. So please subscribe if even a fraction of my videos resonate with you, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Peace out.